Hello and welcome to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Chris, and today we're going through the round 3 team update. I've decided to wear a hat because my hair looks terrible and I couldn't bother doing it. And hats are awesome. Plus, Lakers are going to make the playoffs, so that's pretty impressive and amazing. And I love Lakers. So let's go. But we'll get into things pretty quickly. Obviously, check us out on all of our socials at SC Insider 100 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Soundcloud, you name it, we're on it. And of course, YouTube, where you're probably most likely watching this. So, getting into the week, a little bit of a down week this week. Pretty much, I thought that I was going to be around par right up until the point where Clary went 150 and obviously was a very popular captain option as well. And he's the one that obviously has got away from me this season. So, so 21-31, a little bit unders on what most people have, but not so bad that it's, ruined my season or anything like that. I'll go through my trades that I went through. So, unfortunately, I did end up following through with what I wanted to do in regards to dropping Witts down to Darcy Cameron. So here's the thing, guys. Of course, it has happened to me. So yes, traded Witts down to Darcy Cameron. Looked all systems go right up until 3/4 time. I think I was saying I went the big early crow because I love a good early crow. I think a quarter time he was on like 45 or something like that. And I was like, he's going bigger than English this week. It's going to be amazing. He did slow down a bit. Obviously, crawled his way up to 90 by 3/4 time. And that's when the injury happened. At the time, I was a little bit like, well, I don't know what the injury was. No one really knew. No one could tell anything other than it was a sort of knee clash is what I heard. And then he was subbed. And I was like, well, that's annoying. I thought at the time maybe he was just subbed as a precaution because it was 3/4 time. They were going to use the sub anyway. So they were like, okay, well, we don't know if he's injured or not. Let's just take him out of the game. We'll get a bit of run into the game and then we'll go from there. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Obviously, out for 8 to 10. And I knew that pretty early on the Saturday morning. So changed things a lot in regards to what my plans were. So originally my plans were I was going to go Philippou up to Warple. I decided to can that because I was going to need this cash to be able to trade Cameron out. So I didn't get Warple, which was probably a good thing because Warple then went and dropped to 45 or 44 or something stupid, which I would have been even more upset with. However, I probably should have bit of rookie roulette. I probably shouldn't have played Philippou. I figured Philippou against the Essendon was probably a better bet than Chandler against the Swans. I was wrong there. So rookie roulette cost me, what's that? 39 points on field, so that would have helped. But that is how it is. I did end up getting Chandler. So what I managed to do last week is I'd saved the boost, so I haven't actually used a boost yet, which is going to help me moving forward. And I managed to save that 150 grand. But obviously, it's cost me a trade to go down to Witts, and now it's going to cost me a trade to go back up. So I basically wasted 2 trades for no reason. And now we'll see what we do. So let's move on. Doherty, I don't know what I'm going to do with Doherty. 39 touches and 87 Supercoach is just an absolute slap in the face when I predicted that he'd be going on a run of 125 over the next 5. So now he's going to be tanking cash. He's got a break even of 166, I believe. If you don't trade him this week, you're going to be bleeding cash. But obviously, he could score quite well because he's up against North Melbourne. So who knows? Dacos went well. I didn't think the wet would necessarily be conducive to a big Dacos game, but he did play quite well. Pretty happy with that. I think he still seems to be, number 1 or number 2 defender right now, so pretty good. Ridley completely disappointed. 14 marks and 20 touches for 96 Supercoach. That's just not enough. Not nearly enough. On a game where he probably should have gone 110 to 120. He ended up going 96. Fake premium. I'm calling it now. I don't think he's top 6 anymore, or even top 10. I want to move him on, but we'll see how we go with that. Jinby, of course, pretty much scored 100 because they couldn't take him off. They literally were not able to rotate. It was really strange. Jones 68. This is pretty much where I see him sitting, and I'm going to kind of hold him right now. Obviously, his break even, I think, is in the negatives now. Let me just flip that over. Yeah, so -9. So he's going to be obviously making cash. McKenna had a bit of a down week. Obviously, he's still got a negative break even, so you're going to be keeping him. Wilmot had a bit of a bump, which is great. A bit of a spike game. And then Cowan again with another 51. So they're all making cash. I went VC dunks. So then I threw the captain on lead, which obviously overall was probably a good decision considering that he was my second highest scoring player. So I've kind of won that, but I would have liked to have had someone like a Clary or like an English or something like that. But best of a bad situation. Happy with that one. Bont, 15 turnovers. What do I say? Green seems to be a bit of a fake primo right now. He's had 130 score and then 2 scores, 106 and 100. You got to step it up, Greeny. Not happy with that. Setterfield seems like he had a dislocated finger in the last, but they got beaten. I just didn't think he had a matchup in this game. So potentially this week when he goes to Tom Green, maybe that will free him up a little bit more to get more on the spread. Because what we do know about Green is he's really poor on the spread. So he might be able to utilize that to his best attributes. Hopper obviously comes back, but I did loop Baker last week, so I'll be using that moving forward. Ashcroft serviceable, McKenzie serviceable. Philibert again, we've already touched on. Marshall needs to step up or he's going to find himself out of my side. And then, of course, Cameron. Forwards pretty much did what the forwards did. Goulden seemed like Mills was sent to Clary after half time. And therefore, obviously, Goulden's CBA's dropped. So it did do, he did salvage a half-decent score on his 85. But that's something to watch in the coming weeks. Zeeble, a bit of a down game in terms of scoring, but he actually played pretty well. And then Sheezel, what do you say? So, yeah, not bad, but we do need to make some improvements. I don't know what that was. Sorry about that. Let's get rid of that. All right, so 3 trade opportunities that I'm looking at this week. So the first one is the Get Clary move, all right? So this involves a little bit of craziness, and I will go through this first because I think it's the least likely of the things that I will be doing this week. But this is Operation Get Clary. This is where I go. I'm going to trade out, obviously, Cameron. So Cameron's going anyway. Now, who Cameron goes to is a question. So I'm not too sure how we're going to go about that. Let me just quickly... there we go. That makes it a little bit easier for you guys watching this. All right, so Cameron's out. Who else is out? Probably Doherty in this situation. I think I have to trade Doherty if I'm going this way. And the last one. So now, it's interesting. I'm looking at my team going, okay, the problem is if I want to get all the guys that I want to get with this style trade, unfortunately, I can't go Ridley, which is what I would like to do. I then have to go, okay, actually I'm about 3 or 4K shy if I go Ridley. So who's the next option? The only guys I have around that price point are Tom Green, Taranto, Rosie, and Goulden. Goulden's actually too low, so it has to be one of Rosie, Taranto, and Tom Green. Tom Green I still see he's still averaging 113, so realistically I can't really just throw him away. I think Rosie's got a lot to offer and a lot more upside in his role. And this is what I see from Taranto. I don't see him really going much better than, say, 105 anyway. So I'm kind of like, can I get rid of Taranto? So in this move, that's what I'm doing. And I know this is crazy. This is great. This is what I know it's crazy. It's fine. And this is how it ends up. So I end up going with English in. In this one, I get... I move a forward in. So Philippou would be that one. And then in this way, I can play Chandler on field, which obviously works. We then get Oliver in. And the other one that I like in this last spot is Will Day. Now, I'm not 100% sold on Day, but if I do believe he's a keeper, and so you've got to believe, okay, so last 2 games he's got 99 and 139. He's played some shit midfield, probably some VFL midfielders down at North when he goes 139. But he has had the role. He's had 65% CBAs and 63% CBAs last 2 weeks, which is collectively an average of the number 1 midfielder at the Hawks. So if I believe that role is good, it's not a bad shout. I'm not 100% sold on that, but that is what that would look like. So it ends up being, I I don't like Dacos is my one primo. I'm still looking to get Ridley maybe to Stewart sometime next week or the week after. Day comes in as what, a D6. You have to think that Day's a premium at that price. You fix up your midfield where you bring Oliver in, obviously. You can play Chandler on field in the forward line, so that's not an issue. And that's how that looks. You get rid of Doherty, who I don't know is a premium. Is he a premium? Probably. Taranto, who is a premium. And then obviously we've got to get rid of Cameron. But you get in the number one ruck, the number one mid, and a bit part defender. Is that all worth it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it is, but that was my first rage trade scenario. Get rid of all these guys, just hammer for Clary and just see what happens. Yeah, so that was my first one. Now let's go into the second one, guys. Second one is probably what I'm not looking at doing, and this is just straight up one trade. Oh, maybe I don't know. This is conservative, Chris. This is the Chris trade from. If I was playing 2 years ago, I would be doing this trade. 2 years ago, this would just be straight up. If this ever loads for whatever, why do I always have issues every time I record? Some reason, Supercoach decides, no, I'm not going to load. It would just be Cameron to English, one trade, done. That's it. Save the other trade. Don't need to use it. Correct what I need to correct. Don't overanalyze what else is happening. Know that my structure is pretty good and that my rank is pretty good, and I hope that I hold, churn out some more cash, and then reevaluate from there. That's what I would have done 2 years ago. This is what I'm now more likely to do, which is a bit crazy. It's not crazy. It's just a different approach, more trades, more ability to be flexible. I'm not going to use a boost in this one, but I obviously am going to trade out Darcy Cameron. And I'm going to also trade out Ridley. All right, so those are the two that are going. And I'm gonna in this sort of scenario, I'm backing the fact that Doherty is no longer a premium. Doherty is a premium and Ridley is no longer a premium. So that's what I'm doing with this. Now, instead of going to English in this scenario, I'd go to Grundy instead. Now, this is obviously a cash play, with the goal that the only reason that I'm even looking at this is looking at the fixture. So he's off a 143 playing on Laddams. Now, I don't think he actually played amazing in the role, but Laddams gives up so many points that he couldn't not score well. But then he's got Bailey Williams next week. So what's he going there? 120 minimum? 130 maybe? Captain option? If he does pull out a big score, he's already got a fairly low break even of 75. And I can look towards, okay, if he goes big, then he's going to raise cash next week and potentially be somewhere between 570 to 600 within 2 weeks. I think even after that, if I have a look at Grundy's ruck run after that, it's still pretty good. So he's got the next, so right after that, he's got Draper, and then he's got Nank. And I think it is even better after that. So Draper, Nank, then Goldie, and previously he's actually gone really well against Goldie, and then Witts round 8. So he's kind of got 4 good weeks, and I would assume that by that Gold Coast game, maybe Max Gawn comes back anyway. You've got to be aware of when Gawn comes back and trade him out then. So it is literally just a short-term play. So he makes the money to go up to English so that I can spend that money right now on someone else. And that is the key reason why I'm able to do that. Why do I think that that's important? Well, I'll show you why. The main reason is LDU. So obviously LDU was laid out last week, which has bought those people that see him as a genuine top 6 option, like I have said previously on the pod, I'm now able to look at a very cheap price. So obviously with 634k, I'm not going to be able to get Clary or anything like that unless I go another trade. But there's not much point in that, I don't think. And it would be nice. Here we go. Again, this site. But obviously, his price is going up, LDU. On average, he would definitely be the number one. Yep, there he is. So the play here is using 2 trades instead of 3 and betting that LDU is going to be able to match Clary for the next however long. That's essentially the play. Meanwhile, I'm also betting that Grundy's going to be able to somewhat match English for scoring whilst making enough cash that I can one trade him to either Witts or English at a later date. That is the play here. So I save a boost, I save a trade. I have 76k left to be able to trade in Stewart if I want in the next couple of weeks. Van Ruin looks like he's just going to be an absolute must-have if he has another decent week. So that means that, next week I'm looking to downgrade and upgrade someone, and that 76k could really come in handy because I don't think Stewart's going to drop that much. I think it might be, say, 40k max. If Finn McGuinness gets a hold of him, then it might be another week wait or another 2-week wait. But I want to have a little bit of nest egg there to be able to make some moves next week if I need to. Now, the other thing with this, I suppose, in terms of how it leaves my team is because I've had to move guys into the back line, kind of forces one of my mids off the field. And I'll show you a little bit what I mean. So now I got the... let's move him on here. There we go. So I can loop Wilmot. This is obviously Thursday night, so I can have a look with that with Constable, though Constable might be back and in. So what we heard was Flanders is out for 6 weeks, believe it or not. So I'm expecting either... I don't know if they're going to do like for like from the VFL, even though they had like 100-point thumping on the weekend. It might be that they say go Constable in Darcy McPherson into that half-forward role that he has played before. And considering he was last out, he could get first crack back in and did play well as well last week. So if that's the case, obviously you can play him on field. If he's a sub, that's a risk. So depending on Wilmot's role in the ins and outs of the Brisbane team, I may just play him on field. I may try and loop. We will see how that works out. But yes, so we've got the four in here. Mackenzie goes to there. I still want to play Chandler on field now. So I'm actually thinking of Chandler in here for Goulden. And then moving Goulden into the midfield. And then playing Mackenzie from the bench. Now, the reason for that is this week, the Hawks are playing Geelong, so I can't imagine... I think they're going to get absolutely walloped, and I don't see much scoring from Mackenzie this week, whereas Chandler's obviously playing West Coast, and I think that they are going to absolutely smash them, especially with the amount of outs that West Coast have. I can see a big score for Chandler this week, and I want to have that on field. So that is going to be how I'm rolling in this week, guys. I'm pretty confident on that. I think it's the right way to go. Let me know what you think of option 1, 2, or 3. Is 3 the way to go? Should I just, keep Ridley and not worry about that all, or should I go all out for Oliver? Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Thank you for all the support so far, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.